YouTube, what is up? I'm going to be getting into these live duels a little more. This is round 1 of Metalfoes, Majespecters versus Blue Eyes. I figured the format's not as stale anymore, so it'd actually be interesting to see. Mike starts it off by activating Unexpected Die to special summon from his deck a Gold Driver, which is a level 4 Metalfoes monster if you didn't know. They don't have monster effects, but they do have pendulum effects of popping a face-up card to add a Metalfoes spell or trap from your deck to your hand, so not too bad. Mike then decides to normal summon the Silverbird to activate the Metalfoes fusion in his hand and bring out Hulk does double piercing damage on defense position monsters, and when it is destroyed or sent from field to graveyard, its effect activates, which allows you to destroy one card on the field regardless of the side, so you can destroy one of your cards. Then decides to use Metalfoes fusion's graveyard effect, which is basically shuffle it back into your deck and then draw one. Pretty busted, but it's only once per turn. That's still a really decent effect. You basically never lose hand advantage in this deck. He then decides to set 3 and pass. John's response is to draw and immediately activate Terraforming and add Mausoleum of White from his deck to his hand. Not a bad way to start it off, especially when you later know that he had a Sage in hand the whole time, but the problem is Mike immediately had the counter for it. I didn't even expect Mike to be running these in his deck, and he actually gave me a little bit of work when I was playing him with my Monarch deck. He decides to activate Mausoleum of White, and Mike immediately responds by activating Mystical Space Typhoon. Did not see that coming at all. John has the immediate response though to activate Melody the Awakening Dragon, sending Whitestone of Ancients to the graveyard, probably one of the best targets you can actually ditch. Then he decides to add Blue Eyes White Dragon and Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon to the hand. He then decides to reveal the Blue Eyes White Dragon in his hand to special summon the alternative. I just gotta say, Blue Eyes is ridiculous because you basically never lose hand advantage with this deck, and you just get to draw a ridiculous amount. He decides to use Alternative Dragon's effect on summon to pop Hulk, and then Hulk responds by popping Blue Eyes Alternative, but Mike also chains Metalfoes' counter, which has the effect of any time a card you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, special summon one Metalfoes monster from your deck. Mike decides to go with Volflame in defense position because it has the highest defense he could put up against the Blue Eyes deck. It's not a bad play. It's probably the best monster he could have brought out in this situation. He also checks his back row. John responds then by activating Trade-In to actually draw a little more with this deck, sending the Blue Eyes he added to his hand before to draw 2 more. He then decides to deck then a little more and still not lose any hand advantage by normal summoning Sage. He then activates Sage's effect to add Maiden with Eyes of Blue to his hand. And this is just what I was talking about, guys. This deck literally never loses hand advantage. John then decides to activate Silver's Cry from his hand to special summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon he just sent to the graveyard with Trade-In in order to bring it back to his side of the field for a synchro play. Not a bad play at all. He then decides to synchro the 2 in order to special summon Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon from the extra deck. Probably one of the best monsters in this deck. It's pretty integral to how this deck runs, preventing pendulum summons or summons of 2 or more monsters at the same time, preventing graveyard effects, and then decides to use the end phase effect of Whitestone of Ancients in his graveyard to special summon Spirit Dragon of White from his deck, using Spirit Dragon of White's effect to banish Mike's back row. Mike flips it because he doesn't realize that it's not banished face down, and it's another Unexpected Die, so you can see that Mike didn't have probably the best opening, but either way, setting 3 back row was pretty intimidating. Then draws for turn, and in standby phase, John decides to activate Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon's effect to tag out into Azure Eyes Silver Dragon, protecting his dragons from being targeted or destroyed by card effects, but they are still possible to be destroyed by battle. Mike responds by banishing Metalfoes' counter to add a face-up Pendulum monster in his extra deck to his hand. He then decides to set 1 card and set the Pendulum monster he just added to his hand and pass his turn. John draws and activates the standby effect of Azure Eyes to special summon Blue Eyes from his graveyard. He chooses the normal Blue Eyes White Dragon because he does not have another Spirit Dragon in the graveyard to my knowledge. He then decides to XYZ the 2 into Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon, and then decides to go on top of that with a Dark Matter Dragon to send 3 from his deck, forcing Mike to then banish 3 from his deck as well. Now, when I was watching this replay, I was surprised John didn't send Whitestone of Legend to the graveyard. Instead, he sends 1 Blue Eyes Alternative, 1 Whitestone of Ancients, and 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon, but it makes a little more sense later on why he sent the cards he did. I didn't know his hand at the time, so I understand now what plays he was making based on the cards he had in his hand. I also have a question to you guys listening to this. Do you think that Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter is a better first turn play or early game play, or do you think it's a better late game play? I'm not going to say what I think. I don't want to influence you guys, but I'm interested to see in the comments down below what you guys think. Anyway, John decides to use Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter's effect to detach 1 material. He decides to detach the Spirit Dragon from Galaxy Eyes Dark Matter. I really didn't understand what he was doing. I didn't see the need to activate that effect, but then John does not cease to surprise me and drops the Return of the Dragon Lords, special summoning back the Azure Eyes to banish Mike's last back row, which happened to be another Mystical Space Typhoon. He then decides to go a little ham and decides to normal summon Maiden to synchro into another Spirit Dragon, just to put it in attack position, switches Azure Eyes to attack position, uses Azure Eyes to attack Mike's face down, uses Galaxy Eyes and Blue Eyes to attack, giving Mike 6,500 damage all at once. Is hoping for that YUGIOH level Destiny draw where he draws the rainbow across the sky as he draws the Raigeki, but unfortunately for Mike, there is another effect to activate to bring out another monster on John's side. John decides to use the White Stone of Ancients to special summon his last Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon. Mike does his Destiny draw and does not get the heart of the cards and decides to scoop. That's it for round 1, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Round 2 will be posted a day from now. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up to let me know. If you really enjoyed it, you can follow me on Twitter @Schwabs or like my Facebook page to see when I post these videos. And don't forget to click subscribe because it's free, it's fun, and I'll see you guys in the next one.